Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. There hasn't been a lot for me to post this week, so that's why I'm only making one episode for this week. And because I'll be traveling and stuff at the end of next week, I'll only probably make one video next week, well, maybe two. We'll see how it goes. But let's get started. As we know, like last week, the Pac-12 decided to follow the Big Ten as expected and do conference only for this fall. So kind of like what I did with the Big Ten, I want to show the non-conference games that we're going to miss out on for the Pac-12 doing this. And I'm not going to mention a few because we already mentioned like Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan, Washington, stuff like that. So I won't mention any Big Ten teams again. But in week one, you had the USC versus Alabama and Dallas game, and that would have been pretty interesting to see if USC's offense can keep up or score on Alabama's defense, if you will, because you know Alabama's going to score on USC's defense. So it's a matter of could USC do the other way around, Keaton Slovis at the helm. So that would have been interesting to see. Another week one matchup is the Holy War, BYU at Utah. This would have been BYU's chance to finally win Utah, so Utah got a break there. Kind of like how USC got a break. And by the way, it's kind of dumb because even though they're not in the same conference, like they're 40 miles within each other. It's like, how come they can't play against each other? That's my one beef with like conference only. Because like for example, like what West Virginia is so far away from all the other Big 12 schools, it doesn't make any sense. But like, anyways, I digress. So you got Oregon State at Oklahoma State. Again, that would have been interesting. With Oklahoma State's drama, would have been interesting to see them potentially getting an upset. So Oregon State had a missed out opportunity there to make some noise. TCU at California. I would say even though TCU is going to be the better team this year, and California might digress a little bit. I feel like that would have been interesting for TCU to go on the road the first week of the season, see what would have happened there, because they're both really good defensive teams. And then in week two, you have Arizona at Texas Tech. While both teams are not going to be world beaters this year, it's like I feel like the winner of this game would have been bowl eligible. Texas Tech has had their share of QB injuries, and Kevin Sumlin, like since he's been hired, he hasn't really done much. He from like if I were an AD, like he would be on my hot seat. Like now because of COVID-19, I don't feel like whether he wins or loses this year, he'll get fired or shut up. But his seat's definitely warm. And then week three, you're going to miss out on BYU at Arizona State. That would have been interesting. I'm going to see both teams, like, because both of these teams have the style of, like, one week they're awesome, and next week they're completely trash. So, like, it would have been interesting to see which teams from both of those kind of showed up. And then week six, the Stanford versus Notre Dame game. Again, I feel like Stanford won't be as good. I feel like they can get eligible this year, but won't be as good as normal. So, I would have been getting Notre Dame should have won easily, but again, you never know. Week 13, BYU and Stanford. The battle of the academics, if you will. I feel like that would have been a pretty good game for both teams. Kind of both physical, run the ball type of teams. It would have been interesting to see what happened there. And then, of course, the USC Notre Dame rivalry. It's too bad that game's not happening because I feel like UCA actually had a chance to upset Notre Dame there, even though it's at Notre Dame. And USC by any means wasn't going to stop Notre Dame's offense. It was going to be like a shootout type of game. So it would have been fun to see. So again, what surprised me if the other conferences towards the end of this month is going to make the same move or not. We'll kind of wait and see. I wish I had more answers for you, but unfortunately, since the other Power Five ADs and commissioners are going to kind of wait until the end of the month to decide, we're going to be waiting a few more weeks. So we're just going to wait game, folks. We just got to be patient and see what happens. My gut predictions tell me every conference is just going to go conference only. To make things easier. That's my prediction. We'll see what happens. So some NFL news has happened since the deadline was passed for franchise tag players to sign contracts. Let's start with Chris Jones signing a 4-year deal with the Chiefs. I love it. The two things they needed to do was take care of Mahomes. Technically, they didn't have to do this year. They could wait till next year, but it's better to do it rather than later, especially for the type of contract that Mahomes ended up getting. And then they took care of Jones. So now they can literally just run things back again like they did last year. And in all honesty, I expect them to get back to the Super Bowl again. Now, winning it, I'm not 100% sure, but getting back, I feel like they should be able to do that. Derrick Henry signed a 4-year, $50 million contract to make him the fifth highest paid running back behind Le'Veon Bell, Zeke, and David Johnson, and, of course, Christian McCaffrey. Now, I mean, I feel like Christian McCaffrey deserves to be the highest paid running back out of everyone. Even when Saquon Barkley's turn comes up to compete, I feel like Christian McCaffrey is the best running back. Now, I feel like Derrick Henry could have been in second, maybe third, because, like, again, him and Zeke are kind of similar. Like, I feel like he'd way outperformed Le'Veon Bell, but I mean, the Jets' offensive line sucks, and he had been out for a while, so maybe Le'Veon Bell would get back to normal, but I feel like he did way better than them, and then obviously he's done way better than David Johnson has. So I feel like he could have been a little bit higher. But again, 4 year, $50 million is a very good deal for a running back. Um, Something that confused me is that like since now if they didn't get this deal done, then it makes sense to use the franchise tag on Derrick Henry. But since they got the deal done, now I'm surprised they just didn't use the franchise tag on Ryan Tannehill, just in case they couldn't get things done. Because in my mind, he doesn't really deserve a contract. He deserves to be on a franchise tag and see, okay, you had a nice couple months there. Okay, now can you replicate this again? And if you can, then we'll reward you. But if you can't, then good thing. But oh well. So now their Titans quarterback and running back duo are set up for the next few seasons. So it'll be interesting to see what they can accomplish together. In my opinion, their best season was already behind them. I don't feel like they're going to make it to the conference championship game, but I could be wrong. But we'll see. Myles Garrett became the highest non-paid quarterback. I feel he's very talented, but don't think he deserves more than Aaron Donald at the moment. But in my mind, he would be top 10, definitely highest paid of non QBs. Maybe top 5 footballs, maybe. So I'm surprised he's got paid more than Aaron Donald. But then again, I mean, he's a good player. Um, I still feel like he's young and he has definitely room for improvement, which is good. Because if you're the Browns, if you can get better than he already is right now, that's pretty awesome. I would have taken off about $10 million of the contract just for his incident last season, even though it wasn't 100% his fault because Mason Rudolph did instigate it. But I feel like he could have wiped off some money there, and then in the contract, if I'm the Browns, I would have okay, if you act up again, bam, contract, bam, I lost type of thing. But I mean, I hopefully feel like he learns his lesson. He won't make the same mistake if he does last time. So the Browns, I'm glad for them that they're able to keep Myles Garrett and sign him up long term. Even though the Browns are a bad organization, there's one difference here. So they signed they realized, okay, we have a very talented player. Let's sign him. Now the Jets, who have Jamal Adams, didn't get nothing done. So therefore, and Jamal Adams wants to trade, obviously. So that's the wrong way to handle it. Jamal Adams, he's one of the best defenders in the league. I don't care how cheap you're trying to be. It's like if you got that type of talented player, if you're the Jets, just pay him. Especially since you're not going to get a lot of free agents to come to you, and you've been drafting kind of poorly for the most part. So it's interesting to see there what to do right as a GM and what to do wrong as a GM. Now for the rest of the show, I'm going to talk about Dak Prescott. So as expected, he did not sign a deal. Based off the numbers that were reported, I came to the conclusion a lot of people are saying it's the Cowboys' fault. And there's a few saying it's Dak's fault, but most people are saying it's the Cowboys' fault. For me, I'm going to say it's both of their faults. Here's why. The Cowboys offered, from what I got reported, they offered him a very fair deal after an 8-8 season and only winning and going 1-6 against playoff teams. Like that's very fair. Hopefully he wasn't expecting Patrick Mahomes money because he's not going to get that. I hope he realizes that. Now, rumors were he was looking for like Russell Wilson type of money. But then again, I feel like that's not really realistic because he's not as good as Russell Wilson, even though the cap's going to go up and stuff like that. So he's thinking more long term. Now, the reason why it's Jerry Jones' fault is because he paid all the other players, like he's paid Jalen Smith and Zeke, even though he didn't have to. It wasn't like they were near end with their deals yet, so he didn't have to do it yet. He did, and then also they kind of took a break from like trying to negotiate from like March until now, until like the very last moment. It's just like say all those months where it's like, okay, let's meet together every day we have to. Let's just try to get something done. Instead, they get nothing done, especially when they could have, since with the coronavirus, like Dak was too busy or Jerry Jones was too busy. Like they could have gotten something done. So will this affect Dak's performance this season? My answer will be no, because as a professional, he still needs to play the game. It's not like, even though Tom Brady had one foot out the door last season, he still did a good job of leading the Patriots once again to home field advantage for the first round of the playoffs, even though he technically had the chance to get the bye, but we're not going to talk about that. But he 12-4 last year did pretty good. I mean, he knew he was pretty much going to leave. So I feel like Dak will do good in that regard. I feel like if Dak can either or, probably both, be in the MVP conversation by the end of the season specifically, because after the first 3 games, everyone thought he was MVP, but like by the end of the season, if he can still be in that MVP conversation, and then he can lead the Cowboys to the NFC Championship game, which that says a lot because the NFC is really, really, really good this year. So if he can do that, then he's going to get paid automatically. He deserves it. If he misses the playoffs once again, or they barely make it but bow out easily in the first round, then that's where things can get kind of blurry for Dak Prescott. Um, and speaking of the Cowboys, a lot of people aren't really high on them. They got a new coach, new defense coordinator, new center. Offensive line is not as good as it once was. The secondary is weaker. I understand all those reasonings, but the Cowboys' receiving core got better with adding CeeDee Lamb. Zeke Elliott can't really get any worse than he did last year. He should be better, especially now with all the trash talking against him. Now he's going to be motivated to go out and prove something. Also, their schedule is pretty easy. I mean, you get the 4 automatic wins from 2 times playing the Giants and 2 times playing the Redskins. Um, and then they usually split one with Philly, like win one at home but lose on the road type of things. Like I can see them split with Philly. So that's 5 games right there that they can automatically win. Okay, now you look at the home games because Cowboys were really good at home last year and not as good on the road. So at home they have Atlanta, Cleveland, Arizona, and Pittsburgh, and then San Francisco. Well, that's an automatic loss in my opinion. But let's go Atlanta, Cleveland, Arizona, Pittsburgh. So in my mind, those are not going to be easy games by any means, but they are winnable games as well. Like Cleveland on the road does not perform well, so they can get that one. Or Pittsburgh, even though they have a great defense, their offense is trash. So maybe they can get one. Arizona, their defense is horrible, so the Cowboys will definitely score points on them. So they can get some points. So they can win at least half of those games, 2 out of 4. Maybe, and in my opinion, I feel like they'll win 3 out of the 4. So if that's the case, now you're looking at 7 or 8 wins. And then they got Cincinnati on the road, which that should be a win. But I'm going to have that be like the Jets game last year where they get upset. But let's say they do win, though, and I'm wrong about that for some reason. Then you look at 8 or 9 wins. And then the road games, there's going to be either limited fans or most likely no fans there. So therefore, it's not going to be a traditional road game, which gives the Cowboys more of a chance. So a lot of people are saying 8-8 most likely. Just basically same records last year. And I feel like for them, that's the worst case scenario. Unless COVID or injuries happen, then they can get a worse record. But 8 is the worst case scenario. But I feel like you can get 9. And then my peak for them, and I feel like they can get, is actually they can get 10 wins. And when you get the 9-win part, especially with the extra wild card spot, now you're kind of thinking, okay, they're in the playoff hunt. But like I said, since they get 10 wins, I feel like they can still make the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to get too far in the playoffs, in my opinion, but that's another debate for another day. Now, as far as 2021 goes for Dak Prescott, I'm not going to predict where he's going to go right now, basically, because I need to see how the season plays out. Because there's still a good chance I feel like he can stay on the Cowboys, even though Drew Brees and Kirk Cousins left after playing the franchise tags. But let's see how the season plays out, and if it doesn't go as planned, or if it's poorly, or whatever, then I'll make predictions for Dak Prescott and his free agency locations. But let's just assume he's going to stay for the long haul. So thank you very much for listening to my show today. Please subscribe to my channel, tell everyone about me. I'm trying to get more viewers. Thank you very much, and y'all have a wonderful day.